Hello and welcome to the Holiday Romance Track here at ConTinual. I'm your host Morgan Bryce and Gail Z. Martin. And tonight we've got a wonderful selection of authors, and we're going to talk about holiday romance and why it never goes out of style. So first, I'd love the panelists to please introduce themselves, and we'll start with Tanya Chris.
Okay, hi, I'm Tanya Chris, and I write just all kinds of genres, but mostly MM. And I do have a Christmas story out this year called 12 Dates of Christmas. And I have an older one too called Giving Chances. So I've got a couple holiday offerings out there, and I'm really excited to be here because I love reading everybody's holiday stories.
Great. Shane?
I'm Shane K. Morton. I write I write a lot of holidays. I write Hallmarkish, sweet MM romance with a little bit of heat. And I have 2 Christmas books that came out last year, and I have 2 Christmas books coming out in the next 2 weeks.
Awesome. And Kevin Coles?
I think I'm frozen on my own screen, but hi, I'm Kay. I also write MM, mostly MM. I'm branching out. I mostly write contemporary, but I'm branching out a bit into paranormal and urban fantasy, I'm hoping. I do have a couple of holiday books. One is called Healing Hearts, which is part of the Stealing Hearts series, and another called A Home-Time Holiday. I don't plan to put out a holiday book this year, but I do plan to put out a winter wonderland kind of a thing this year.
Mm-hmm. Tadra?
I am Tadra Candle. I have a lot of books. They're all romance. I write both contemporary, paranormal, erotic, with a lot of fun sub-tropes genres. I have 3 holiday books currently. One is called The Shadow Bells, which is paranormal romance. The other ones are Underneath My Christmas Tree, which is a crossover between 2 of my small town romances. And the third is The Meant to Be One, which is also a small town romance. And I might have a surprise one coming soon. Leave that as a cliffhanger.
Cool. Brittany?
I am Brittany Canoyer. I write a little bit of everything from paranormal to suspense to rom-com to contemporary. And I have one holiday novella that came out last year called Bite Me Santa.
JD?
Hi, I'm JD Light. I started out writing paranormal, all MM. I did a little contemporary for a while, and then I did some contemporary impreg, and now I'm going back to paranormal. And I am right now in the process of converting one of my books to a holiday book. And then I have 2 holiday books from last year. One is Neighboring His Everything. And then one is, I'm drawing a blank. Lights, Camera, Christmas.
Andrea?
I'm Drea Roman, and my first series is contemporary MM romance, and since then I've been writing Omegaverse and Impreg, especially in the holiday theme shared universe Bell Valley, and I have one from last year that was about a Christmas elf, and then my book that came out in October was about Santa Claus, and then I have one more in January, kind of late for the Christmas season, but it's about horse shifter firemen, so I'm excited about that.
That sounds fantastic. Well, and on the Morgan Bryce side, with my urban fantasy male paranormal romance, I've got Lucky Town, which is a novella in the Badlands series that takes place, a lot of it takes place in Pittsburgh over the holidays, and in Dark Rivers, which is in the Witchbane series, also hits Pittsburgh at the winter time. And I'll have a Kings of the Mountain based winter story in a Christmas story, actually in a giveaway that comes out in early January this year. So got some stuff coming up there. What is it about Christmas stories that just keep bringing us back for more? I mean, there are never too many Christmas stories. So what do you think? I'm going to go around the other way and pick on Brittany first this time.
Well, considering I love Christmas stuff, I think for me, it's just the magic of the season and the belief of Santa Claus when you're a kid, and I don't think part of you ever really loses that little bit of innocence, even when you get older. And because of the magical times and all the movies and the books you read, there's always that hope of finding love and being happy. And especially right now with everything going on with this stuff, it's nice to get lost and have a little bit of fun escapism.
Cool. JD?
I cuddly warmth. I don't know. That's all I can think of to explain it. It's just you want to sit down and read about other people having happy ever afters during Christmas and have your cocoa and be in your pajamas, and I don't know.
Works for me. Drea?
Yeah, that warm and cuddliness, because that's exactly what I was thinking, JD. And what made me want to write it really was I read so many wonderful ones that made me happy. And so I wanted to make other people happy and make myself happy by telling happy stories.
Tadra?
I was on a panel somewhere and we talked about this, and I love this answer. It's that a lot of the rules go away around the holidays. You can make it as corny as as sweet as possible. People are like, oh, it's the holiday. Okay. Commercials that we watch the rest of the year, we'd be like, bah, I don't want to see that. But it's holidays, and we're like, crying over the little boy who buys his mother something. So I think that it's kind of gives us a lot of room to write stuff that we maybe otherwise would not get away with. So a lot.
And Kay Evan?
I think that there's a lot of appeal in the sense of family and togetherness that tends to happen around the holiday season. And I think that's especially true for people who maybe don't have that in their life. So I think that is a very certainly appealing to me to try to write about it, but also I think to read about it as well.
Mm-hmm. Shane?
Happiest time of the year. Everyone, it seems like Christmas is one of those holidays that you tend to forget a lot of the stuff that drags you down throughout the year, and the decorations and the lights. I mean, what other holiday do we really go all out for, kind of the way that people go all out for Christmas? And I think it's exactly like Tadra said with the books that, and all of the holiday movies that we get from, all of the channels. And Christmas movies start showing in October. So it's one of those, we want to feel good again. And Christmas is kind of that re-energizing energy that does that for us.
Mm-hmm. Tanya?
I really love the traditions. My family celebrates Christmas, and so we have these things that we, always did when we were kids. And sometimes I'm reading a book, and there's a family doing, really those exact same things, and it's just very warm, as other people have said. But also seeing traditions that aren't mine, just fascinating about the so many different ways there are to celebrate these holidays. When my Christmas story this year, one of the characters is Swedish, and that was a lot of fun, was to research what are the Swedish Christmas traditions. So I enjoy getting to peek in on different families or different cultures, that whole wide range of how do you celebrate the holiday.
I agree with all of you, and I think one of the things I love about the Christmas romances is it's kind of a double dip of happy, because that a romance is going to give you a happily ever after, or at least a happily. And a Christmas story had better give you a happily ever after. What kind of Christmas story doesn't? So you're really kind of guaranteed, 2 scoops of ice cream here. You get 2 good things at the end. And, why would you ever pass that up? Are there some tropes that lend themselves more to Christmas stories, or maybe a little less to Christmas stories? What do you think? And I'm going to start in the middle. Pardon? I'm going to pick on Todra first. My screen, she's smack in the middle. So.
Okay. Yeah, well, and this is great because this is I'm sure that a lot of people have similar answers. I think personally, small town, it really Christmas lends itself, and that's probably just because I've read a lot of small town Christmas books. There's something about, think about it. Most of the movies, you've got the big city woman coming back to the small town to try to, open up a bookshop or a candy shop or something, and she's got to deal with, all the people who she left behind. But it's going to be good. It's going to have a happy ending, and everybody's going to join together around the Christmas tree, probably in the village green or something like that. So I think small town does. As far as what doesn't lend it, I think I don't know that there is one. I love like Christmas mysteries. I used to think paranormal didn't, but paranormal really does. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to hear if anybody else has something that just doesn't work.
Yeah, if you think about it, A Christmas Story by Charles Dickens is a ghost story first and foremost. So, there we go.
A long tradition.
Yeah. Brittany, how about you?
I think being like snowed in, like close proximity is a good one. People, like going away for the holidays, or like, the next door neighbor that you really can't stand, and then they get snowed in together. It's a good idea. Not funny. Yeah, but like she said, I can't think of one that doesn't go with it. Like, even I've written murder mystery, and I can still imagine like someone like going out there and like stalking Santa Claus or something. There's actually like an anti-Santa Claus movie coming out with Mel Gibson. I think you can just pretty much put anything and put a Christmas spin on it. You throw in some elves and Santa Claus and call it a day.
JD?
Yeah, definitely small town for sure. Snowed in for sure. I like the BFF trope. It's just warm. Already said that. That's just kind of where I see it. As far as not, I really can't think of anything that wouldn't.
That's great. Drea?
Well, I really like magical, and that's what I've written, and that's what I really like reading about Christmas elves and Santa. But then I was thinking, like, well, what wouldn't work? And I was thinking you could actually do dark Christmas stuff. You could do like Krampus and a Christmas elf or something. So it that Christmas love story, you can just put almost anything in there because it's that magical time that anything can happen. I really like that.
Cool. Okay.
I like all of the things that have been mentioned so far, but I was just thinking that like a holiday away, like a destination holiday, is always really fun, especially if you're, so I live in the Northeast of the United States, and I would at Christmas time or winter time take a holiday someplace tropical. So that would be a different way to celebrate, but also great. I would love to get away anywhere at this point. In this current unpleasantness. But I can't really think of anything that doesn't work. Someone mentioned Die Hard at the beginning of this. And that's one of my favorite Christmas movies, and it's so insane, and I love it at the same time. So I can't think of anything that doesn't work.
How about you, Shane?
Well, I got this close to actually writing a dark Krampus story.
You should.
And got behind. So it didn't happen this year, but I actually am planning on writing it next year. My favorite, and I've written 2 books about it, is kind of the hidden prince trope for Christmas. I love the whole royalty Christmas spin. And so that's kind of been one of my favorite things to write for Christmas. But like, I do think they all work. Like, all the tropes can be used at Christmas time.
And Tanya?
Going back to the Dickens thing, I think one of my favorites for Christmas is Redemption, right? That a Scrooge idea of, okay, let's this is an opportunity for you to wake up to, you know, the true meaning of Christmas, or just the love and all of that. So I really enjoy those takeoffs on Scrooge. Like I could watch about 1 million different versions of the Scrooge story, probably. And my book this year was also a redemption, not Scrooge, but it was a redemption story. So I like that. And as for what doesn't work with Christmas, like if somebody came up with one, my writer brain would then just figure out how to make a Christmas story out of it. It would be a challenge. I'd be like, oh, you don't think so, huh? So it's good none of you came up with anything, or I would have my next Club Bunny by now.
Well, I did write a dark Krampus. Krampus is not one of the love interests. The two Monster Hunter love interests are hunting the Krampus, but yes, it's there. So that's actually lucky. They've got to summon, and you know, yeah, it goes there. So yeah. What do you like to read? What are some of your favorite titles or series, or even just, you know, types of books that you like to read during this season? Shane?
Well, my favorite Christmas story was written by Drea. I'm in absolutely love with Tuck. And Santa's Red Hand Delivery Man, I thought was also just a...
Well, when Tuck looks like this, there's a reason to love him.
It helps. But I loved that character. But there's been a lot of great Christmas books that I've enjoyed. But some of the Bell Valley ones has actually been my favorite in the last couple of years.
Okay.
Oh man. So anytime I try to come up with a favorite anything, like 1,000 titles will pile into my head and then I can't come up with anything. So I'm not sure I could name a favorite title, but I will say that I really do, you know, back to what Tanya said about redemption stories, they are something that I do think I seek out at that time of year, and try to find something new, especially because I have this giant to be read list that I'm not making any headway on at all.
How about you, Drea?
Well, that's how I started writing Christmas books, was because of Vale Valley. And I just liked that you had, you know, different authors, you know, set in this small town, lots of magic. So, a favorite one, probably from that series, there's A Swan for Christmas by M.M. Wild. And I just really like that one. Like the wolf shifter rescues the swan shifter from freezing to death. And then, you know, they take care of each other and fall in love. And I really like it.
How about you, Tadra?
I am a sucker for historical romance. Christmas. I think because that's how I started reading Christmas romance. It was mostly historical, especially like Regency, or even one of my favorite books when I was younger was Washington Irving's An Old Christmas, where, you know, he goes back and he talks about the nostalgia that they had in 1700 for a Christmas from the 1600s, you know, which just tells us we've been in that cycle for a long time. But I love that idea of everybody coming together for like a week-long house party, and, you know, everybody's there, and there's a, you know, a dinner or a ball every night, and I don't know, it's a fun idea. Certainly very different from what we have now. So I'm kind of a sucker for those.
How about you, JD?
I don't know that I can name a favorite. I could have probably like 2 days ago, because I was reading one. I really loved it. But I am kind of a sucker for shorts during Christmas, and I'm kind of a sucker for shorts, period. But like when you get so many different little novellas that you can just kind of like sit down and just fly through, and you just have all these different Christmas stories. So I really like the shorts during this time of year.
And Brittany?
My favorite is by Jacqueline Osborne, and it's called A Gift of Time. If you haven't read it and you like redemption stories, you need to read that one. I highly recommend it. It made me cry, but
I'm writing
happy
that down.
tears. Yes, it's so good. And I mean, I like all kinds of, like, honestly, like if I'm busy writing a Christmas story, I won't read anybody else's, just because it makes me question my own. So I try to like read something like a little bit different, but I do like to read, like JD said, like shorter ones, because I've noticed that since I started writing my own books, I really don't have time to read as much as I used to. So my TBR is like super long, while my time to be able to read them is like super short. But yes, read that book.
And Tanya.
Well, actually, so one of my favorites was from a few years ago. It is a BDSM MMM, right? It's like two kind of doms finding a sub, and the name of the book is Fall on Your Knees. And it is my like favorite title ever. And I really enjoyed the book, but honestly, I would have like loved that one just for its name. It's just a Christmas BDSM story. And it's a really like little hot and dirty thing. It's by J.A. Rock and Lisa Henry, I believe, if I have that written down right. But yeah, fall on your knees.
I have Oh Holy Night in my head right now because
Yeah, now.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, I have to admit, I am a total sucker for Christmas series. I love Vale Valley. I read all of those. I like the Valentine's Ink ones and some of those had a snowed in one. Yes, I know. And, the Snow Angel series that was out a couple of years ago, where there was a carved wooden angel that moved through the time periods, and it always seemed to come to the person who needed it. And then last year, I think there was a Snow Globe series where, again, where the snow globes all had and some of them were paranormal, and some of them were haunted, and some of them, people were stuck in the snow globe, and I just loved all of those. And so yeah, I'm a total sucker for that. I'm just, that's what I'm reading from the time they come out until I get through them, and then it's about time to start on the Valentine's ones. And I think for a standalone, one that is just adorably sweet is Eli Easton's Merry Christmas, Mr. Miggles. And it's one of those small town, this guy who helps everybody but doesn't do anything for himself and doesn't think he can find love, and then finds it, and it's just tooth-rottingly sweet and absolutely wonderful, which is the way all Christmas stuff should be. That's a plus. So what were the TV shows or TV specials or Christmas movies that shaped you as a kid? Or what are the ones that now you just can't, it's not the season if you don't watch them? Shane.
Charlie Brown for all the holidays, for October, Charlie Brown, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I love those. It's not the holiday unless I'm watching them. The Star Wars Christmas special
Absolutely
is a masterpiece of horrible, and I can't stop myself from putting it on every year just because I adore it. But I'm a big geek, so of course I do. And there was this show on, Ryan Murphy, from American Horror Story and all that, had this first show called Popular on that was in the 90s. And it has what I consider the quintessential Christmas episode of all time. And it is the, it just warms my cuckolds up my old heart every time I watch it. And we watch it every year on Christmas Eve. It's like my husband and I do. It's just such a great episode. So,
Brittany, how about you?
Well, as a kid, I remember, I'm about to show my age here. I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but every Christmas Eve, I believe, it was Wizard of Oz would come on for the holidays, and my family and I would all gather around the TV and watch that. And then getting older, it was the 24 Hours of a Christmas Story marathon that comes on AMC. And I've even been to the house and got pictures holding the Red Ryder BB gun and then and in front of the leg lamp. And now for me, like I do Christmas in July for Hallmark, then I do the countdown to Christmas movies for Hallmark, and then I watch the new Christmas movies for Hallmark. But yeah, then I got to watch all like little ABC specials, which are now screwing us over things, Apple TV with like the Charlie Brown and Rudolph and stuff like that.
Cool. Drea?
I was trying to look up which guide is which. It's a Christmas Story, the Dickens one. It's from the 80s, and I can't. The guy's name is something Scott. But that one particularly, I liked it because I thought it was really scary. Like you can see the ghost in the doorknob, and then like when the ghost of Christmas Future comes, there's this horrible like ringing sound, like someone shrieking. Like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, that one's my favorite, and I have that. My sister found it for me on DVD.
The one
but
with
that's
George,
one I have to watch.
George C. Scott?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. The George C. Scott one, because it's scary. I like that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that one too. I'm trying to jump all over this place, all over the place, so everybody gets, mixed up. Tanya.
Okay, it's a Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. So Mr. Magoo is this nearsighted little short cartoon dude who, I don't know, I think maybe he had a lot of shows, but the only one I've really ever seen is his version of the Christmas Carol. So he's this little nearsighted cartoon character who bumbles around and things, and yet the Christmas Carol version that they do is just really, it's a musical with good music, and it really hits all the tender moments in addition to having like humorous ones. I grew up back in the days when your mom had to look up when your favorite shows were going to be on, and you had to sit down in front of the television at that moment. And then when I got like my first VCR as a grown-up, the first tape I bought was Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. So I could watch it whenever I wanted. And then, you know what? I don't think I ever watched it once. But if it came on TV now, I would totally watch it. Like if I stumbled on it,
JD.
So I really like the old claymation stuff. So I really like the Rudolph, but I don't like much of the live action Christmas movies from back whenever I was young, because my stepdad would seriously sit down and we'd watch it continuously until Christmas was over. So I'm just not okay with it. But I do like all the Hallmark stuff. I do like to sit down and watch Hallmark. So
that's great. Okay.
Actually, so on the claymation thing, do you guys remember a movie called A Year Without a Santa Claus? And it was the Heat Miser. Oh yeah, so that's my favorite. I'm not
Heat
really sure
Miser.
why. So
Like
amazing.
Heat Miser, Cold
Yes.
Miser.
But also my family, I don't know why we got into this tradition. We watch Ghostbusters at Christmas time every year. But I love that movie, so it's totally cool.
And Tadra.
Well, we start off the season. I mean, technically, we're not supposed to watch Christmas movies before Thanksgiving. That was my dad's thing. But we always start off the Christmas season with the Muppet Christmas Carol on Black Friday while we eat our leftovers. From when I was growing up, I loved Year Without a Santa Claus. That actually came out when I was maybe a preteen. So I remember that. I loved the Flintstones Christmas. You can still get that if you get a chance. It's magic. And the Jetsons Christmas, also magic. And I love even the quirky, I love Love Actually and all those other really super fun ones. Christmas with a Crank. If you have seen that, it's fabulous, but the book is even better. It's by John Grisham, and it's called Skipping Christmas. So if you get a chance to read that book, it's super fun. And of specials, there's two. Happy Days. If anybody has ever seen the very first Happy Days Christmas special, it is hysterical. There's a Santa Claus that mugs everybody, like it's a mechanical Santa, and when you come up, it grabs you and mugs you. It's funny.
That's
and
awesome.
on a little off-kilter Buffy amends. I think that is just an amazing Christmas special, or it wasn't a special, Christmas app. So
Yeah, you've mentioned so many of my favorites, but I love the animated How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the original one with Boris Karloff's voice, that was the Chuck Jones animation, and Muppet Christmas Carol definitely, as well as the George C. Scott, which out of all of the versions, it's one of my favorites, because you're right, it's scary as well. And just for episodes, A Very Supernatural Christmas, which is one of the Supernatural episodes, but just a terrific Christmas show. And as far as obscure Christmas specials, there's Santa's Magic Toy Bag, which is a Muppet thing. And I think it was early 80s. And it did finally come out on DVD. And it's probably one of those that you really have to have grown up with and have nostalgia for to appreciate, because if someone just shows it to you now, you're going to go, what? But, you know, bear with me. If you watched it all those years, then it's special. As so many of these things are. So yeah, and a new one, I think, Arthur Christmas. Just if you've seen that one, I loved his passion for Christmas. That just kind of rang true.
So Phineas and Ferb has a good special too.
Phineas and Ferb does.
Phineas and Ferb.
Yep.
So what are some of your favorite special foods at the holiday, and how do you decorate? So that's a twofer question, and I've been going around pointing at people. Jump in, somebody be brave here and start us off.
Canned cranberry sauce, that is my jam. I have to have it for Thanksgiving. My family knows I don't eat any other kind but the canned stuff. And for decoration, I have a little 2-foot fiber optic tree. I don't put up the big one. I have a couple stockings. I'm minimalist.
So the canned cranberry sauce that you can still see rings on when you blop it out of the can. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're supposed to cut it with the lid, right? Yeah.
Who else? Come on.
Stuffing.
Favorite decorations.
I love stuffing. It's my absolute favorite, and I will overeat it every single time. And as far as decorations, usually I do like a big fun tree and we decorate the fireplace and all that. But the last couple of years, we have actually been going to Colorado, which I don't think we're going to get to do this year because of everything. But those last couple of years, I've been taking like a little mini tree and dressing it up like a snowman.
JD, I have something that could change your life if you love stuffing. Trader Joe's has a stuffing flavored potato chip.
Oh no.
I mean, they are like sold out immediately, but we went on Saturday and bought 6 bags. So
I feel like that's going to be my new thing to gain Christmas weight.
It's dangerous. They really
Christmas calories don't count.
I really
bake a lot. Oh, go on, Drea.
Oh, well, I was just going to say it's like the sweets and stuff. Yeah, like pecan pie. And I even have a fruitcake recipe that's really, really good that has ginger in it. And then for decorating, like a Christmas tree and stuff, but we have stockings for all of our pets. So the cats get like treats and toys and stuff.
Lila has one that's a paw print shape.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I like to bake. Because for dinner for Christmas, if I don't make like Thanksgiving dinner again for Christmas, because that's kind of what my husband likes, I would rather make like Christmas lasagna or Christmas enchiladas. But I make cookies from the end of Thanksgiving to New Year's, like all kinds of cookies, and I eat them all. I love them.
You know,
I
decorate. Box?
Yeah, come on, send me your addresses. I'll send you some cookies. And I love to decorate. We decorate for, right now we have a bunch of fall decorations up that we could, turn pumpkins around from Halloween. So it still works.
Nice.
But we decorate for all the holidays. I'm just that kind of person. I'm from the South. I can't stop myself. And for Christmas, I go all out. Santa Claus is has died and exploded all over my house. I have gutted them all over the place. Wow, that's too much. Okay, yes.
So my mom is Filipino. So for me, a holiday kind of food would be, this sounds bizarre probably, but like egg rolls and things like that, because that's what you would make at Christmas time or holiday time, whatever. So anytime I have any kind of egg roll or like an egg noodle of some kind, that's what I think of as holiday time. It's so delicious. And as far as decorating goes, we just do lights and a tree, but I like to buy weird ornaments. Like I bought my son a donut, like a Howard it's just this like pink frosted donut with sprinkles, and I gave it to him. He was like, what am I going to do with this? And I was like, hang it on the tree, buddy.
Y'all have the Christmas pickle?
Yeah.
No pickle yet.
My family has a weird Christmas meal. Well, it's a good Christmas meal, but it comes from a weird place. We have filet mignon with twice baked potatoes and cauliflower with melted cheese on it. And that started because one year the Omaha Steak Company, have you ever heard of them? They like mail you steaks. It's sort of bizarre. So one year the Omaha Steak Company accidentally mailed my mother a bunch of filet mignon. And when she called up and said, you know, these aren't for me, they said, well, you know, keep them. You're not going to ship them back. Like, what would be the point of that? So we had filet mignon that year for Christmas Day, and ever since then. And so that shipping mistake was the best mistake that the Omaha Steak Company ever made.
Merry Christmas from Omaha Steaks.
that became our Christmas tradition meal. Like Shane was saying, so that you're not, before that, we used to just have Thanksgiving twice. So then after that, we had like a separate Christmas meal. And as for decorating, I'm often like kind of a Grinch and don't actually get out most of the Christmas decorations because it seems like a pain. But I think that this year I'm going to, and we have a new cat. So we are going to see what happens with that.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I do a spiced pecans, which are something that my mother passed on. And most of my recipes come from my mother or my grandmother. A lot of cookies, like Shane, I'm pretty sure we might be Christmas twins that were separated, you know, because I do a lot of baking. We actually, I have three grown daughters, and we get together on a day and we like just bake, and then we divide it up and freeze the stuff. I make fudge. I have between 10 and 15 totes of Christmas decorations in my garage waiting to go up. And and we do decorate for every holiday. I have a beautiful Tiffany turkey right now lit up in my hallway. So if you follow me on Instagram, I take my beer pictures. I put the beer next to the turkey and take my daily beer pictures there. And when I lived in the Northeast, I would have like our one room was all Santas, one room was all snowmen, one room was all nativity scenes, one room was all angels. But in Florida, it's much more of an open concept. And so I have to kind of just mix and match everything. But we do go big decorating. So
sounds like.
Why not? You know?
Yeah, I mean, food wise, we usually do the turkey with all the stuffing, and I'm also a huge stuffing addict. I mean, the turkey is really just a vehicle to make the stuffing taste better. You can kind of every turkey. Yeah, and a deviled egg recipe that we found in Southern Living that now nobody can have a holiday without. But for Christmas, we usually get some kind of ham. And so there's a scalloped potato recipe that now has just become required for holidays at our house. But as far as decorating, I firmly believe that if you can't see it from space, you haven't done it right yet.
Griswolds?
You know, we have a pre-lit, we do 3 different Christmas trees, full size. And the one in the family room, it's pre-lit. And then I add another 4,000 lights to it. I'm not like seriously, another 4,000 lights. It glows. And then we've got the lights in the bushes and we've got the lights in the trees. And yeah, we're that house in the neighborhood, but I love it. And we got in this habit back when you could travel we really didn't need more stuff, but we decided we'd get Christmas ornaments when we went on vacation because you don't have to dust them all year long. Who dusts? You don't have to dust them all year long or find a place for them, but you get to see them every Christmas and kind of remember what a nice vacation you went. So our tree is sort of like a living monument to every place we went. And we have another.
That's a good idea.
We have another tree that's more, themed in color, and then one tree that is all the stuff that the kids made when they were back in daycare. They're now adults. But I thought they'd be embarrassed by it, but now they drag their significant other over and go, see, I made that.
The art lives forever.
Yeah. And the funniest one on that is they used to give out those AOL discs back in the day, and they were free, and they'd mail them to you. You just couldn't get away from them. Well, daycares used them as free craft materials because they were sparkly. So people would just put glitter glue on them and then hang them on a ribbon. And, hey,
Awesome.
hey, Mom, I made
Amazing.
So yeah, all of that. Well, folks, we have actually, gone through our time, and this has been so much fun, but I want to go around again, make sure everybody gets a chance to mention if you've got a holiday book coming out this year, or you just have a perennial holiday book you want to mention, as well as where people can find you online. So I'm going to go back around the original way and start with Tanya.
Okay, I do. I have a Christmas novella. It's called 12 Dates of Christmas, and it's about an Instagram influencer who has set up a fake relationship campaign, basically, where he's going to go on 12 dates over 12 days, and at the end he's going to find the one, except it's all pre-planned ahead of time who the one is. And he's all just doing it for the likes, basically. And then while he's on his way to date one, he meets a guy, and now he's falling in love for real while trying to keep up this fake Instagram campaign. So I call it a double fake relationship trope, right? Like the fake relationship turns out not to be the real relationship in the end. So that is now available currently. It just came out today. And if you'd like to know more about that or about me, the best place to find me is on my website, which is tanyachris.com. Thanks.
Awesome. Shane?
I have a YA Christmas romance coming out this Friday called Do You Know What I Know? And it's a part of a YA series of Christmas romances called The Heart of the Holidays. And then the next Friday, I have a sequel to last year's Christmas book, which was called A Very Merry Christmas in my Point Pleasant Holiday series. And this one is called A Very Married Christmas. And it is a royal romance with intrigue and families coming together. The royal family and the American family. And that comes out next Friday. So both of those. And I would give you my website at shankmorton.com. It is where things go to die. I am not one of those people that takes care of their website very well. You can find me on Facebook for the most part at my group, which is called Shane's Sweet and Salty Readers.
Nice.
Awesome. Kay?
Sorry, I muted myself because there's a lot of background noise happening. Oh yes, so I do have a couple of holiday themed novellas. One is called Healing Hearts, and it's a contemporary city romance. And then the other one is called Hometown Holiday, which is actually a small town kind of a romance. And because I live in the city, that was sort of a stretch for me. So I feel like I did that. That was good. The best place to find me is probably my website, kevancoles.com. But I do have a reader group on Facebook called Kay's Whiskey Words Cafe.
Nice. Sandra?
I forgot one of my holiday romances when I was going around the first time, and it's called The Cuffing Season. It came out last year, and it was based on my son and his real life adventures. Everything that happened in there actually happened to either my son or to one of his friends. So it's a really fun, light story. And this year, and this is the first time I'm announcing this, my 9th publishing anniversary is on December 6th. And I'm publishing my 100th book that day.
Wow.
And it is a Christmas, thank you, a Christmas book called Snowflakes on the Sand. So, it will be coming out that day as a celebration the 9 years in publishing. And you can find me at tawdracandle.com. I'm on Facebook. My reader group is called Tawdra's Naughty Temptresses. And I'm also on Instagram and a million other places. So, and I'm the only Tawdra, so I'm pretty easy to find.
Brittany.
I have the Christmas novella I mentioned, Bite Me Santa. I was also part of the Valentine's Ain't Snowed In. So I have a, not really a holiday, but it's a winterly type thing called Ain't Snow Mountain High Enough. And I have a website, but like Shane, I don't use it. I think I updated it like maybe like a year ago. So you can find me like on Facebook, on Instagram. My Facebook group is Brittany's Men in Mayhem.
And JD.
So I have the one that's coming out this year is a revamped novella, and it is So Stinkin' Deer, drop the G, D-E-E-R. And it's about a skunk shifter and a deer shifter, and it's impreg, and it should be coming out the end of November, early December. Haven't decided yet. And then you can find me. My website has like nothing on it, so I wouldn't suggest going there. Facebook, I would say my group is probably the best place to find me, and it's JD's Cluster FK.
Nice. Drea?
I have two, and then I have a third one coming out in January. So I have my Veil Valley books. I have Christmas Magic, which is about a Christmas elf who gets amnesia because Santa's sleigh crashes. It's the drunk reindeer. It's their fault. And then this year in October, I published Santa's story, Santa's Right-Hand Delivery Man. So that's my newest Veil Valley. And then in January, I have some horse shifter firemen. They found their third at the end of his Christmas Magic. So it's their story with their magical mate. And the best place to find me is on Facebook, Drea's Dirty Divas. I don't even have a website, so I'm like at the worst end of this. Not just not updating, I don't even have one. So it's on the long to-do list that never gets finished.
And for me, I've got a story in Christmas at Caneham Castle, which came out last year. It was 7 authors all writing about the same fictional castle. And my couple, Tegan and Anthony, are actually from my Deadly Curiosities series, which is one of the Gale series, not necessarily a romance, it's more urban fantasy, but their story is definitely a romance, and there's a nice heat factor in that. And then I'll have A Christmas Spirit, which is the short story in the Winter Wonderland multi-author prolific works thing coming out in January, and 2 other Morgan Bryce Christmas stories. If you count monster hunting over the Christmas holidays with some Christmas cheer thrown in, and I do totally. Lucky Town and Dark Rivers both have Christmas themes in them. And I'm hoping to do more Christmassy stuff later on, but that's, you can find me at morganbryce.com, gailzmartin.com, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter under those names as well, so I'm pretty easy to find. Folks, thank you so much for being here tonight, for sharing your evening with us and sharing your holiday cheer and all these wonderful stories. Now we're going to go out and stuff our Kindles, which is exactly what we need to do. So happy holidays to everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to everybody watching. Have a wonderful evening and very happy holidays. And there'll be more holiday romance here on ConTinual.